Gawker Media is a Cayman Islands-incorporated online media company and blog network, founded and owned by Nick Denton based in New York City. It is considered to be one of the most visible and successful blog-oriented media companies. As of March 2012, it is the parent company for 8 different weblogs: Gawker.com, Deadspin, Lifehacker, Gizmodo, IO9, Kotaku, Jalopnik, and Jezebel. All Gawker articles are licensed on a Creative Commons Attribution non-commercial license. 1. Revenue and traffic. While Denton does not go into detail over Gawker Media's finances, he has downplayed the profit potential of blogs, too, declaring that blogs are likely to be better for readers than for capitalists. While I love the medium, I've always been skeptical about the value of blogs as businesses, on his personal site. 3. However, in the February 20, 2006 issue of New York Magazine, Gossip founder David Horsley estimated Gawker.com's annual advertising revenue to be at least $1 million 2 years ago, and possibly over $2 million a year. 4. Combined with low operating costs mostly web hosting fees and writer salaries Denton was already believed to be turning a healthy profit in 2006. 5. In 2009, the corporation was estimated to be worth $300 million, with $60 million in advertising revenues and more than $30 million in operating profit. History. Beginnings. Gawker Media was originally incorporated in Budapest, Hungary, where a small company facility is still maintained. The company was headquartered at Nick Denton's personal residence in the New York neighborhood of Soho, and it remained there until 2008 when a new base of operations was created in Nolita in Manhattan. Expansions and contractions. On April 14, 2008, Gawker.com announced that Gawker Media has sold 3 sites: Idolator, Grid Skipper, and Wonket. In a 2008 memo, Denton announced the layoff of 19 of our 133 editorial positions at Valuewag, Consumerist, Fleshbot and other sites, and the hiring of 10 new employees for the most commercially successful sites Gizmodo, Kotaku, Lifehacker, and Gawker and others which were deemed to promise similar commercial success. Denton also announced the suspension of a bonus payment scheme based on page views by which Gawker had paid $50,000 a month on the average to its staff, citing a need to generate actual advertising revenue as opposed to just increasing traffic. He explained these decisions by referring to the 2008 credit crisis, but stated that the company was still profitable. In September 2008, Gawker reported 274 million page views. On November 12, 2008, Gawker announced that Valuewag would fold into Gawker.com. The Consumerist was sold to Consumers Union, who took over the site on January 1, 2009. 6. On February 22, 2009, Gawker announced that Defamer.com would fold into Gawker.com. In October 2009, Gawker Media websites were infected with malware in the form of fake Suzuki advertisements. The exploits infected unprotected users with spyware and crashed infected computers' browsers. The network apologized by simply stating "sorry about that. Our ad sales team fell for a malware scam. Sorry if it crashed your computer." Gawker shared the correspondence between the scammers and Gawker via Business Insider. On February 15, 2010, Gawker announced it had acquired CityFile, an online directory of celebrities and media personalities. Gawker's editor-in-chief Gabriel Snyder announced that he was being replaced by CityFile editor Remy Stern. 7. Source code breach. On December 11, 2010, the Gawker Group's 1.3 million commenter accounts and their entire website source code was released by a hacker group named Gnosis. Gawker issued an advisory notice stating, "Our user databases appear to have been compromised. The passwords were encrypted. But simple ones may be vulnerable to a brute force attack. You should change your Gawker password and on any other sites on which you've used the same passwords." Gawker was found to be using DES-based crypt, 3, password hashes with 12 bits of salt. Security researchers found that password cracking software John the Ripper was able to quickly crack over 50% of the passwords from those records with crackable password hashes. Followers of Twitter accounts set up with the same email and password were spammed with advertisements. The Gnosis Group notes that with the source code to the Gawker content management system they obtained, it will be easier to develop new exploits. 2011 redesign and traffic loss. As part of a planned overhaul of all Gawker Media sites, on February 1, 2011, some Gawker sites underwent a major design change as part of the larger rollout. Most notable was the absence of heretofore present Twitter and stumble-upon sharing buttons. Nick Denton explained that Facebook had been by far the biggest contributor to the site's traffic and that the other buttons cluttered the interface. This decision lasted 3 weeks, after which the buttons were reinstated, and more added. On February 7, 2011, the redesign was rolled out to the remainder of the Gawker sites. The launch was troubled due to server issues. Kotaku.com and io9.com failed to load, displaying links but no main content, and opening different posts in different tabs didn't work either. The new look emphasized images and de-emphasized the reverse chronological ordering of posts that was typical of blogs. The biggest change was the 2-panel layout, consisting of one big story, and a list of headlines on the right. This was seen as an effort to increase the engagement of site visitors, by making the user experience more like that of television. The site redesign also allowed for users to create their own discussion pages, on Gawker's Kindra. Many commenters largely disliked the new design, which was in part attributed to lack of familiarity. Rex Sorgatz, designer of Mediaite and CMO of Viu, issued a bet that the redesigns would fail to bring in traffic, and Nick Denton took him up on it. The measure was the number of page views by October recorded on Quintcast. Page views after the redesign declined significantly. Gawker's site saw an 80% decrease in overall traffic immediately after the change and a 50% decrease over 2 weeks. With many users either leaving the site or viewing international versions of the site, which hadn't switched to the new layout. On February 28, 2011, faced with declining traffic, Gawker sites allowed for visitors to choose between the new design and the old design for viewing the sites. Sorgatz was eventually determined to be the winner of the bet, as at the end of September, 2011, Gawker had only 500 million monthly views, not the 510 million it had had prior to the redesign. However, on October 5, 2011, site traffic returned to its pre-redesign numbers, and as of February 2012, site traffic had increased by 10 million over the previous year, according to Quintcast. As of March 23, 2012, commenting on any Gawker site required signing in with a Twitter, Facebook, or Google account. Leaked script. In January 2014, Quentin Tarantino filed a copyright lawsuit against Gawker Media for distribution of his 146-page script for The Hateful Eight. He claimed to have given this script to one of 6 few trusted colleagues, including Bruce Dern, Tim Roth, and Michael Madsen. Due to the spreading of his script, Tarantino told the media that he wouldn't continue with the movie. Gawker Media has made a business of predatory journalism, violating FEOPLI unregistered trademark S rights to make a buck, Tarantino said in his lawsuit. This time they went too far. Rather than merely publishing a news story reporting that plaintiff unregistered trademark S screenplay may have been circulating in Hollywood without his permission, Gawker Media crossed the journalistic line by promoting itself to the public as the first source to read the entire screenplay illegally. Collective action. On June 22, 2013, Unpaid Interns brought a Fair Labor Standards Act action against Gawker Media and founder Nick Denton. As plaintiffs, the interns claimed that their work at sites io9.com, Kotaku.com, Lifehacker.com and Gawker TV was OE central to Gawker unregistered trademark S business model as an internet publisher, and that Gawker unregistered trademark S failure to pay the minimum wage for their work therefore violated the FLSA and state labor laws. Although some interns had been paid, the court granted conditional certification of the collective action. In October 2014, a federal judge ruled that notices could be sent to unpaid interns throughout the company who could potentially want to join the lawsuit. List of Gawker Media weblogs, current, Sync Hungarian, Deadspin Sports, Screamer Deadspin Soccer Hub, The Concourse Music, Food, Sports-related pop culture. Gawker.com New York City Media and Gossip, Tabloid, Bailiwick San Francisco, Silicon Valley and Tech Gossip. Gizmodo Gadget and Technology Lifestyle, Sploid News, Futuristic Ideas and Tech, and Definitely Wild Adventure Travel in the Outdoors with Wiley. IO9 Science Fiction, Jalopnik Cars and Automotive Culture, Truck Yeah! Trucks and Truck Culture. Jezebel Celebrity, Sex, Fashion for Women, Kotaku Video Games and East Asian Pop Culture, Lifehacker Productivity Tips, Licensed Australian Weblogs, Gizmodo Australia Gadgets and Technology, Kotaku Australia Games and Gaming Industry Coverage, Lifehacker Australia Tips, Tricks, Tutorials, Hacks, Downloads and Guides, Weblogs formerly owned by Gawker, Cityfile, Consumerist Consumer Advocate, now owned by Consumer Reports, Defamer Hollywood News and Gossip, now a tag on Gawker, Fleshbot Pornography, now owned by editor Lux Albtram, Gawker Artists Contemporary Rising Art Registry, 8. Gawker TV Television and Online Video, Gridskipper Travel, now owned by Curb Network, Idolater Music, now owned by Buzz Media, Odaka Gambling, Screenhead Online Video, now on related film site, Sploid News, Wonketa Washington DC Gossip and Politics, now independent, see also, Weblogs, Incorporated. References, Gawker Media. Using Gawker Media content, Pennenberg, Adam L. Can bloggers strike it rich? Wired. September 22, 2005. Denton, Nick. Nano Wars March 8, 2005. Thompson, Clive. Blogs to Riches The Haves and Have-Nots of the Blogging Boom New York Magazine. February 20, 2006. Carr, David. A Blog Mogul Turns Bearish on Blogs, New York Times, July 3, 2006, Perrine, Alex. Memo, Gawker sells 3 sites April 14, 2008. Gardner, Eric Gawker to Quentin Tarantino, We're safely based in the Cayman Islands. Hollywood Reporter. Gawker Media is the Goldman Sachs of the Internet, The Or, July 27, 2009, McIntyre, Douglas are the 25 most valuable blogs in America. 24/7 Wall Street retrieved November 10, 2009. McGrath, Ben. Search and Destroy, Nick Denton's blog empire. The New Yorker, 50 €61. Retrieved January 21, 2011. ABC Owen Thomas, Bailiwick cuts 60% of staff. Bailiwick, October 3, 2008, Defamer folds into Gawker. Editors to pursue careers in bearded hip-hop. Gawker.com. February 22, 2009. Retrieved March 23, 2009. Popkin, Ben. Gawker duped by malware gang, serves up infected Suzuki ads. The Consumerist. Retrieved April 27, 2010. Blodgett, Henry. Gawker scammed by malware group pretending to be Suzuki. Business Insider. Retrieved April 27, 2010. Teak Shrimp, Gawker website hacked by Gnosisur. Gnosis says they are not 4chan or anonymous. Tech Shrimp December 12, 2010. Retrieved December 12, 2010. Commenting accounts compromised. Change your passwords. Lifehacker November 12, 2010. Retrieved December 12, 2010. A/B brief analysis of the Gawker password dump. Duo Security. December 13, 2010. Retrieved December 18, 2010. Acai Berry spam attack connected with Gawker password hack, says Twitter. Naked Security. nakedsecurity.sophos.com. Retrieved November 15, 2012. Gnosis on Gawker hack, Web security. Gawker system. December 13, 2010. Retrieved November 15, 2012. Salmon, Felix. The New Gawker Media. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Peterson, Latoya. How Gawker, a unregistered trademark S redesign subverts the scannable culture of the Internet it helped create. Retrieved October 21, 2014. McCarthy, Caroline. Twitter buttons disappear from Gawker redesign. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Jeffries, Adrian. Gawker redesign. Gawker, a unregistered trademark S ban on a shiny bauble. A unregistered trademark share buttons lasted 1 week. Retrieved October 21, 2014. A.B. Covert, James. Gawker web redesign met with Bronx cheers. Retrieved October 21, 2014. A.B. Romanesco, Jim. Denton, Gawker, a unregistered trademark S redesign more bruising than it needed to be. Retrieved October 21, 2014. La Capria, Kim. Are you digging on the Gawker Media Extreme Makeover? Mims, Christopher. Gawker.com's redesign is the future of Gawker, period. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Ellis, Justin. Jalopnik redesign shows how Gawker Media plans to open up blogging to its readers. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Leach, Anna. Rage against the redesign. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Garber, Megan. OE it just feels inevitable. Nick Denton on Gawker Media cites unregistered trademark long in the works new layout. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Observer staff. Nick Denton bets cash Gawker redesign boosts page views. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Gawker's traffic numbers are worse than anyone anticipated. Nicholas Jackson. The Atlantic. November 6, 2012. Retrieved November 15, 2012. Schoenfeld, Eric. Gawker's gulp moment, big redesign is driving people away. Retrieved October 21, 2014. De Rosa, Anthony. The Rise and Fall of Gawker Media. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Gawker.com site info. Alexa.com. November 1, 2011. Retrieved November 15, 2012. Stapleford, Dylan. Gawker admits redesign mistakes, rolls out fixes. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Alvarez, Alex. Nick Denton admits Gawker, a unregistered trademark S redesign wasn't a unregistered trademark T all a unregistered trademark D hoped to be. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Davis, Noah. Nick Denton loses bet that the Gawker redesign wouldn't hurt traffic. Retrieved October 23, 2014. Olenoff, Drew. Remember that Gawker redesign? A unregistered trademark S worth of data says it worked. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Transitioning your commenting account, the FAQ. Lifehacker.com March 23, 2012. Retrieved November 15, 2012. Quentin Tarantino sues Gawker over Hateful Eight script leak, Arts and Entertainment, CBC News, Gettel, Oliver. Quentin Tarantino mothballs Hateful Eight after script leak. Los Angeles Times. Tribune Company. Retrieved January 27, 2014. Gardner, Eric. Quentin Tarantino suing Gawker over leaked Hateful Eight script. Hollywood Reporter. Retrieved January 27, 2014. Shotwell, James. Quentin Tarantino suing Gawker for sharing leaked Hateful Eight unregistered trademark script. Under the Gun Review. Retrieved January 27, 2014. O'Connell, Sean. Quentin Tarantino sues Gawker over the Hateful Eight script leak. Cinema Blend. Retrieved January 27, 2014. Smythe, Christie. Gawker, unregistered trademark S and paid in turn sue after Fox Searchlight ruling. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Gardner, Eric. Gawker hit with class action lawsuit by former interns. Retrieved October 21, 2014. Smith, Alan. Gawker faces collective action by unpaid interns. Retrieved October 21, 2014. The HR Specialist, New York Employment Law. Gawker's latest target of unpaid intern class action. Retrieved October 21, 2014. External links, Gawker Media, Tom Zeller, Jr. A Blog Revolution? Get a Grip, New York Times, May 8, 2005, Vanessa Gregoriades, Everybody Sucks, Gawker and the Rage of the Creative Underclass, New York Magazine, October 22, 2007.